Welcome to the Quest for Details. I'm Nate, and we are going on a little adventure. We are treasure hunting. It's a lot of what we do on this channel is we treasure hunt. And today's clue started with a big rock called Cable Rock. And I thought to myself, why is it called Cable Rock? That's usually where you run a cable from one side of a river to another. It's a river, it's a rock, and there's usually things on the other side. So I'm wanting to know what was on the other side. And I have a hunch. See, I've been looking for this ghost town that was, that my neighborhood is built on the remnants of. Now I've been looking far and wide, and then it occurred to me, that's where most of our history is lost if it's not under the water. This is under where we're currently living. So, following that theory, we're going pretty close to home, and we're gonna cross over and check some alluvial flat spots. Assuming that in a world before tractors and all of that, people would have been forced to spread out a little bit more onto the natural flat spots. And so we're going to check across from Cable Rock because the cable had to lead somewhere. So we'll follow its path. You are invited along, and this should be good. We're going to start by just trying to find a nail. Any proof of a building. Because as far as we know, there isn't one, but I have a theory. It could be the schoolhouse for the area. That's my theory. Because I have a second-hand story, meaning it was told to one of the ex-fire captains here by the person who had actually been to the school. So we're going to try and trace down that bit of myth and put a square nail in it. And the first X on the map would be across from the cable. So I'll get myself there and then I will show you. Loch Ness monsters out here. Be aware that they live in the hole. Where'd they go? They saw me filming them from a quarter mile away. Couple of otters. Having fun. And this is the riverbed that normally would be completely flooded, but because we have low water levels, we're able to get across this thing. And historically, when this flat spot may have been used, this wouldn't have been flooded. It would have looked a lot like this because there wasn't a dam. So it would just dry out naturally like it has done, and this would be a great crossing because those are all bedrock there. So, and I know that this flat location on this side definitely has some old stuff going on. We've proven that. Let's go check it out. There's the Cable Rock. When the water would be higher. And then, wow, look at these thistles. Look how tall those are. We have to wade through foxtails and thistles waist deep. I'll try and go through these beat down areas. And then I see a cut bank. It's probably where the super high water mark goes. And we just have to kind of work our way through all of this and see if there's anything to see. So the reason why I'd never hunted this before is because it's actually at a pretty steep grade coming off this hill. This is super steep. There's a dozen places just right around here that are less steep. This is literally almost a cliff when you get up there. And it's a slant and then the water goes on most of it, so if there is a spot it should be pretty obvious. Because it's got an angle, it's got all these plants and stuff, you can expect anything that was a clear thing to just be slanted. This might have been a little... Oh, it's hard to tell. And we are in extreme snake country, so literally every step we're in the flat spot across the river by the watering hole. So we're going to be careful and do our thing. Oh, my headphones are dying. And our first signal out of the ground was an 18, but I see what it is. It's a jacketed bullet, so it would have been lead with brass around it. Probably shot from the rock over to here. So hopefully they don't do that today. Other than that, no further signals. I'm investigating every little prop rock I can find. Schoolhouse though, huh? Okay, I don't think it was ever back in there, but we have our next biggest flat area. This would be my best guess on the whole thing unless there's a little shelf up behind it. And it's got all one type of brush in here but no bigger trees. So we'll probably have to go wiggle out through there. But I'm getting a signal right here. So I'll go ahead and dig that up and show you what it is. Okay, so it's, oh, shotgun shell. So somebody stood on this side. It is paper, not plastic, and it was a Super X Western 16 gauge. Yeah, it's a slightly older version for sure, but it could have still been shot here in 60s or 70s. Especially if they're hanging onto their bullets. Bullet casing with primer. 22. This is literally going along working in this type of terrain. And just trying to get down through everything. Working between all the bushes. Trying to pinpoint some of these in this chaos. And yeah, just looking for flat spots. So sorry if not filming too much, it is a little chaotic. This is my best guess so far. Suddenly the ground is as flat as you could expect it to be, beaten down, even with no people over here. The vegetation is for some reason short. That's indicative of a place that's had human habitation and it compacts the earth and so everything is really flat. Oh, it's like that flat spot right up there. Okay, but next clue is a more modern white top T-stake fence running up here with some trees growing through it, and it's lost here in the fire. I'm going to try and trace it uphill. I don't think it's a property boundary, and if there's 4 sides and it's not a bullpen, then sometimes it's to keep the free-ranging cattle off of a structure. So you put up a fence around it. So I'm wondering if this surrounded the old schoolhouse remains, because it's that visible until a few fires back, I guess. So at least a chunk of fence. Very compacted earth, but not very many signals yet. Well, this fence line, it just kind of dies in the dirt. And I know that there's no big dividers up there because that's one chunk, and that's actually Mr. V's property. And we have permission to roam range. So, thinking maybe there's a back side of this fence. We might be able to confirm on some trees down here. And then maybe this whole lower square is where there's a structure. Just in this type of area out in the west, a lot of times when you find fencing, it was to hold the animals off of the yard, not in the yard. Walking over here because I saw, well, let's show you this first. What are we? It's our first little something. I have no idea what that is. It's thin, brassy, and it wasn't shot from the other side. So, yeah, that is the first something. It looks like a complete something. Just don't know what it is, but an object. And this is the surroundings, so we're going up to these big trees right at the edge now. And I'm seeing chainsawed stumps and things like that. So, I don't know, I guess we are across from the rock. So, use the detector for a second. Our headphones are dead. And yeah, there's an old shepherd's gate. See the round post here? And it's got the fencing wound through it, so you lift that up out of like a little loop of wire and open it. Here's the other end. So these aren't super old. They were just wound around these trees that have been killed in the fire or from the fencing. But sometimes you do that to gate off a little area where there's a structure or something, like I was saying, or a bullpen. So, but cable rock, rumors of a school, flat spot, compacted earth, and now an object. So stick with me. Ow! By the base of this big old tree, we have a stinker. There's the river. There's the rock. Maybe they cable to this tree. And a big thing over here. I figure out why they would cable something here. There was a gate. Gates go to things. Well, that got redundant and crazy, so I have just marched through all this. If it was here, I cannot find it. So we'll have to go on to our next location. Okay, in this cluster, at the end of this whole thing, after I had pretty much given up, just got a very high signal, dug down to it, not expecting it to be anything. Look at that. It's a dime. Are you a silver dime laying here in this forest? That says 61. Let me get it cleaned up. I think that's what it is, though. A 1961 silver dime. Well, okay. If you can understand what I was just swinging through, you would know why I didn't live dig this, but that's what it is. We just got our silver coin off this far side. 1961. Now keep in mind, there's the big swimming beach right there, so this could have been somebody squatting up in the bushes back in the day, but we went on a quest and we got our silver coin. Yeah. Okay, let's look and see. But I'm happy with that. It is getting hot. We started early and it's getting hot. We got a coin. Wow. Okay, boom. Mission accomplished. There was the coin. I put a round rock there. That was what made me pause here, is there's a bunch of round alluvial rocks eroding out of this hillside. And I thought, man, maybe they were using that for foundation stone, and I saw some cans, so maybe a hunter's camp from the 60s also. Or, you know, hunters using the old structure. Who knows? Campers, partiers, but there's a little nail in the dirt next to it, a little finish nail. Okay, now we really are out of here. I don't know why there was one silver dime all the way out here, unless this was the road that led in from the crossing. A hunter sitting up here, someone squatting from the beach, who knows? Maybe the edge of the schoolyard. All I know is we got a silver coin out of it, so I'm happy. I'm gonna work the beach and the chunks of rock and stuff on the way back. Let you know if we find anything. Otherwise, I'll probably just see you at the next location. Thank you for joining me on this one.